Hello out there in YouTube land. This evening we're doing a interview discussion chat with Matt Paternoster. Now, Matt made the big show. He was in MOTOAmerica, and we're going to talk about his road to MOTOAmerica, how it got started, and how he ended up there. And I'm just gonna let him introduce himself and talk a little bit about his racing background and how long he's been racing, how he got into it, and we'll go from there.
Sure. First, thanks for having me on this. I watch almost all of them probably because we're all starving for motorcycle racing content. So I try to watch everything I can. My name is Matt Paternoster, 810 with Niemer and Azra. I started riding about 10 years ago, maybe. Pretty late, actually. I think I was like 27, 28 when I started. Parents were super against motorcycles, so I had to move out and buy my first bike, essentially. And then did track days for a while and started racing in 2020 with Niemer. And I had no idea what I was doing at all. Um, First novice round went pretty terribly initially, bike and mechanic wise, but somehow they bumped me to an amateur after my first weekend. And from there, it's kind of been like a addicting drug.
Yeah, it's it was unusual for me coming back because Niemer had that novice class, and I was like, geez, that's kind of weird how they're doing that, but it all made sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, after I did it. As a matter of fact, when I had to get relicensed because it had been so many years since I had raced. But Mr. Bentoncourt was in my licensing class, which is hilarious because now he's Moto America on the Kramer, and
Yeah.
he's right up there. He's doing pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. Especially kind of as a teammate last weekend too. It was really cool to see. And I can learn from a 15-year-old or however old he is
Oh,
actually. So
every, yeah, I'll see him out there. There's a couple of classes where they're a wave behind or whatever. And when he comes by, I just watch and try and learn what I can
yeah.
because he's flying right along. So you've been racing with Niemer, Azra, and how long did it take you to go from amateur to expert?
It took a while. 2021, I bought a bike, an SV Superbike. It's actually John Donald's old 2 mil first gen SV, and I went pretty well on that one. I got down into the 19s, but then I had a nasty crash in turn one, which really set me back mentally. I had no idea what I did wrong. I basically spent the second half of 2021 trying to figure out what I did wrong. And it basically took me till the last lap of the last race of the last round to almost crash again. Like turn one, pull on the bar, front brake, downshift. But I used to rev match. So when you're braking that hard and then I rev mash and added just a little bit too much brake pressure, the front end just talked on me, and that's how I crashed. And it was like a eureka moment, essentially. Like, oh my gosh, now I know what I did, and now the season's over. So that set me back for a while, and I essentially went back to school to learn how to ride again. I took the NJ Mini GP 3-day camp early in 2022, and I totally revamped like how I brake, how I ride, the body position thing, and kind of slowly built it back from there. And then eventually, it still wasn't really clicking for me. So I took a year off from Niemer and went to Azra as an amateur and like kind of honed my skills, try to get fast again, and then came back to Niemer, did the times to be an expert, and they bumped me as an expert.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's tough when you don't know what happened in a
yeah, for sure.
crash. the two that I had in 23, I was lucky. I knew what I did. Uh, One of them I drove off the track because I went in between two guys. I didn't want to hit anybody, and I just ran out of pavement and wet grass and slicks.
Yeah.
Uh, doesn't work, and ended up in the tire wall. And then the other one, I actually had a cartridge that had come apart in the fork. So brake, 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 turn 11. It was bottomed out and it just pushed the front end out.
Wow. Mm.
And off I went. So I was lucky. I knew what one of them was a mechanical issue and the other one was don't hit somebody. So I was lucky. But yeah, it's tough when you don't know what happened. And I mean,
Yeah,
that's a lot of it.
for sure. Yeah. Um, but I never really stopped. Like I always kept trying, which there was a point where I was like, all right, if I can't figure this out, I'm done. And that was last year. And what I did was I took the American Super Camp course down in Delaware.
Mhm.
And surprise, Trace Boudreau and Ben Glady and Jacob Crossman were the coaches, which I had no idea about. So that was kind of cool to be in familiar company and, little kids yelling at you, like, do this, do that. And from that moment, I just started dropping time, just being way more comfortable. Stop. You have to let the bike do what the bike does. Don't try and force it. Body position is good, but you have to have your body timing is also very important. And pretty much from then, even on the old first gen SVs, I started dropping time again and started feeling more comfortable. And that's really when the progress kind of started, which was end second half of last year, basically.
Yeah, you were in good company with those guys. There's no doubt. I've had
Yeah.
Ben on here. I've had all of. I haven't had Trace on. Need to get him on here.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, especially with the RS, the 660. Uh, I mean, I think Ben's done a 12 on the one he was riding at Loudon,
Yeah.
which is crazy. And Jacob, he's right there with him,
Yep.
and Adam Geyer. I mean, consistent low 13s. I don't know if he's hit a 12 yet, but
I don't think so, but I mean, all those
he's
all those kids, I would love to overlay their data over mine just to see like what, like what it is. Like my PB out loud is a 17.1, which I need to find another 2 seconds at minimum. But I would just like to see it analytically. Like, all right, what are they doing that I'm not? And I'm sure it's glaringly. I just speed. It's an easy answer. It's just speed, but I would like to see it. Squiggly lines.
yeah, data is it's good. I like looking at the data, and I know exactly what I'm not doing when I should be doing it. I
Yeah.
know what I'm supposed to be doing out there. It's just getting this to do it. So get up through the expert ranks, and you're doing well. You did these classes and schools, and you've really been refining your riding, and then you get the Aprilia.
Yeah, I had a pipe dream of trying to do a MotoAmerica round, but I mean, you can't do it on the bike I had. So it was two things like, all right, I'm making progress. Let me see what I can do on a properly set up machine. Like there are guys that can go fast on junk, right? I'm just not one of them. Or so I said I'll spend the money because I'm a pretty cheap guy. First gen SVs using the same set of tires all year. Two, I'm just gonna spend the money and try because if I don't try, I'll never know. So I bought a buddy's RS660 used. It had a lot of good stuff on it already. I just had to change a few things ergonomically, and it would be good to go. So I bought that over the winter, basically rebuilt the whole thing, new bodywork to kind of make it my own. Um, wanted to feel like I was riding my bike, not somebody else's. And kind of came up with a testing plan to see. Like I wasn't even planning on doing Niemer. It was going to be mostly Azure rounds, but I had a lot of problems in the beginning. Like I did a test down in Jersey in April, and the bike would air out with electronics, and I couldn't fix it. I didn't know what it was. So that kind of set me back. So like the very next round was, or opportunity to ride was Niemer round 2. So I signed up for that. Rainy Friday practice, everything was fine. And as soon as it dried out, I started getting more errors. So I really was cussing at the thing, like, what is wrong with you, these stupid electronics? I want to go back to carburetors. Um, Jesse from Seacoast gave me some advice. Adam, who's built, I mean, both those guys have built a bunch of bikes. They gave me some stuff to try, and I worked my way through it, figured it out, and I think by my like the first Azra Summit round, which may have been May-ish, it was working properly, and then I could finally put my head down and all right, let's figure this bike out.
Well, that's good. Yeah, and there's probably no two better people to ask about them. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
so once you get it worked, well, and now I came from an SV. Well, years ago I was on like old school ZX6s and stuff like that. Some old cobbled together twins, um, and then I was on an SV. And then when the first time I sat on that RS 660, I was like, "This is a proper race bike.
yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it." Same feeling for you?
I would say, I mean, anything that's new feels odd to me, and I had like obsessed over the SV's ergonomics because I wanted everything to be perfect. I'm sometimes can be a perfectionist with certain things, so like where the clip-ons were, I wanted the ones that were closer, and I wanted my arm angle to be this and that, and I had custom made uh, triple clamp adapters to allow me to run like special clip-ons for the stock front end, because we have a machine shop at work, so we were making like custom parts for the thing. And then I got on the RS, and it was like all the measurements were, ooh, this feels really good. And then once I rode it at Jersey, like not even trying to like a PB, like, I was like, all right, there's some potential here. And it's not even that it made like 20 or whatever more horsepower, just like the chassis and the brakes and the feeling just is very confidence inspiring.
Yeah, yeah. It felt good. First time I rode mine, I had my SV with me and the RS and stock suspension. Really hadn't done a lot. I had the race ECU in it and not much else other than bodywork and stuff. And I was on top of my SV lap
Yeah,
times. Actually, I beat my SV lap times.
nice.
So I was like, wow, wait till I get some suspension on this because I wasn't pushing it as hard as I could have, but it was a brand new bike to me. So,
Yeah,
but it just felt when you sat on it, it felt like a race bike.
sure. Yeah.
Um, but hey, I mean, the SVs have had an awful long run, 20 plus years.
There's still some fast guy. Actually, that video that down at Jersey, I'm chasing a first gen SV, and he's going
Yep.
faster than I am. And
Yep.
it's a stock. It was a stock bike. Well, he said it was stock, but
I don't think there's a first gen left out there
yeah,
that's.
right. I joke. My stock one's name is like Theseus because every single part's been replaced. That's not even the same thing anymore.
So, what were your plans as far as stepping your game up and trying to move into the MOTOAmerica thing?
I I had no plans. It was more like, all right, if I'm gonna buy something, I need it to be MotoAmerica legal because I really wanted to get a Kramer, the uh, the 690S, because I don't really ride on the street anymore. So there's no reason to have like a title and all that stuff. But then I was like, that's a lot of money for something I can't really go that far with. So the Aprilia made more sense. And then in actually, probably should back up. The whole reason I started racing was because of Kevin Wimble. He met me at a Penguin track day at New York Safety Track, and he's like an SV fanatic, and he didn't know who I was, but he's got to talk to everybody that's got an SV, so he encouraged me to come race. And I was all worried about like tech and safety wire, and he's like, dude, just don't worry, just come up, we'll fix it, we'll take care of it. So through him, we met Adam, and Adam was like super detail oriented mechanic and all this stuff, and he would look at my stuff and like, what are you doing? So I started learning from him, and then as you know, a couple of years go by, I start stepping my game up a little bit, and um, just trying to learn from him. And then he invited me this year, like, all right, you got a good bike, you're making progress. Come hang out in our garage for a weekend and understand our process and our program and see how you like it, how you gel with the team, and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, like, I guess why not? We'll give it a shot. And the next round was like the Loudon Classic. And he's like, well, you're going to enter the pro Thunderbike race, right? And I'm like, I don't know. I that might be too much.
Am I?
And but I had let it slip, like, oh, I'm thinking about doing a MOTOAmerica round. And he kind of wanted a twins rider potentially for MOTOAmerica. So then he says, like, wait, you want to do a MOTOAmerica, but you won't enter like a local semi-pro Thunderbike race? And I'm like, yeah, when you put it that way, it makes sense for me to enter. So we basically spent the very first weekend that I had the bike running properly, from like Friday practice all the way through the weekend, doing their program with their paperwork and their process. And I think I started out like a 21.7 and wound up with a 17.5 by the time I was done. Um, Eye opening. Um, every session you go out, you work on a corner or a section that you're struggling with. You don't try to take the whole track on as a whole. You come in, you debrief, you write all your stuff down. And at first it was like, man, I don't want to be writing all the stuff down every single session 5 times. But then towards the end of it, once I kind of put my own spin on it, I kind of do like a rubber ducky thing with developers. Like, you'll talk through things like with my wife, and you'll come to the realization yourself of what you need to do. We just had this dynamic of Bike's doing this here, I'm feeling this here, and this is what I do to mitigate it. And then Adam would bounce some stuff off of me, and then it just like the lap times were like coming down, 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 down. A little bit of that was Adam giving me like the truth. Like, I'm watching you in turn one. Stop shutting the thing off before the three board. You hold it, turn while on the gas, and then you get on that brake. And yeah, once you go fast, it's going to wiggle. And it was like, all right, I got to do it once. And then from there, it's like, oh, I know what that feels like now. I can do this in other places. And it just compounds.
That's good. It sounds like that structure helped out a lot. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
and we're talking about Adam Kells. Almost every if you've been to an EMA race, you know him.
yeah.
Uh, Works with the Seacoast folks. Um, he just is I cannot get him to do a show. I offered to come to his shop and do it, and he is
He's
that shy about it. But
I, people need to. I mean, I think people need to know. I I I don't know everybody's program. I don't know their process. I'd imagine it's somewhat similar to mine. You know, you show up, you try to ride, maybe you do the Friday practice. Maybe it's to make sure the bike runs like I used to do. Does it run? Like, is it gonna make it the weekend? But you're not really focusing on improvements if you're doing it that way. And I don't know, it was just a really different structure that for me helped, because I took that program and that process like to every track day and every Azure round, and I made my own sheets and basically copied their workflow and just did it on my own with essentially me and my wife for the rest of the year, and it kind of worked. So
That's good. That's good. And obviously, he's got a program that works. He's got a team now. A MOTOAmerica team, and I think next year is going to be a really good year for him, especially with uh, Mr. Betancourt as he progresses. At such he's got so much talent at such a young age, and it just I really look forward to see what's going on next year.
yeah, for sure.
And I'd love to see you out there with him as well.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what the. I don't really have a plan for next year.
Well, you
Like
had
the
originally planned on doing Moto America next year. So
yeah,
how did he drag you into that?
after the classic, it was like, all right, this is a good experience. Now let's work a little closer to getting onto the Moto America grid, and to do that, I really wanted to make sure I had everything in order. So I used to ride Pirellis. Moto America requires you to have Dunlops, so I switched to Dunlops. My the first Azra New Jersey round, I just said you're gonna have to switch, so let's throw them on, and I went faster immediately, whether there was the tires or not. Probably just getting more comfortable with the bike, combination of both. Um, so you have to make sure you can do like a qualifying time on the tire with the spec fuel. So I bought fuel from Adam because he had some. Like, I want to make sure the bike runs with that fuel. And then I wanted a cushion. Like, yeah, I got down to the 32s. If I assume the pole position is going to be the lap record, which was a 24.6, that cutoff time is like a 30, it was like a high 32 or something. So yeah, I can do a 32 in a race, but can I do it on my own? So more practice, more track days, more race rounds. And then the last Azra New Jersey round was like, all right, this is it. And thankfully, a couple of pros showed up. So we had like Matt Chapin, Cassidy Heiser, and Chris Parrish, and then me. Like, those are the four fastest lightweight guys. So I can kind of see like where we're at, because I was worried that the repave and the change in turn one, they go faster, and then I overthink like, oh, the cutoff's going to be like a 31 and I can't do it. So I got down to the 30s, and I could do a 30, like a low 31 on my own, not even really trying too hard. And I was like, all right, I can do this. So then we made a plan with Adam, like, hey, I want to do this. What do I need? And there was a ton more stuff that I didn't think about. Like, you have to have all the team shirts and stuff ready with all the patches and sponsors and stickers and all that. Like, you have to have all the stickers on your bike, and all this admin stuff has to be done. So it was like a scramble to get all that done. And thankfully I worked for a sticker company, so I had everything I needed, all the DTF transfers, and I'm a graphic designer, so it was pretty easy for me. Um, and then Adam put some people together. Like, I had Jesse from Seacoast as my crew chief, which was like, holy cow, like, this is kind of crazy. And I had been working with Jesse a little bit throughout the year, like like tire strategy and teaching me about compounds and when to use what, because like I said before, like, I would just ride the same Pirelli for like half the year. Like, oh, it's not round anymore, I guess it's time to change it. No, once you've got like 3 races on your Dunlop, move to another tire, because you can't practice getting faster if your tire is not consistent. So you need that consistency to start pushing in other areas. I might be talking in circles. I tend to get dive
That's
into this stuff pretty deep.
no, it's
Um,
all relevant. It's all relevant.
So we had Jesse come down, which I don't know how Adam swung that. That was crazy, and I didn't know at the time like how impactful it was going to be. And then we had Chris from Dunlop come down to just specifically take care of tires. And it just somehow Adam wrote like a Road Racing World article, and then I start seeing my picture like on social media, and I'm not a social media person. So I was like, oh my gosh, what have I gotten myself into? I just wanted to do this off in the corner next to Nathan, like, yeah, man, like, let's go, like, have
Oh yeah,
fun. And now it's like, nope, MotoAmerica writes an article. Matt Paternoster from Upstate New York is coming down to ride. I'm like, oh, jeez,
yep.
no
And
pressure.
then
So,
did you have to do the headshots and all the other stuff?
yeah, you gotta do headshots for the grid thing, assuming you make the grid. And then I was stressing about like the move-in day because you need to have a special radio, like a UHF radio to hear the calls. And then I was stressing about tech because yeah, I read the rule book like 8 times, but still, there's always something like, oh, you don't have this, and sorry, you can't ride. So, but it
So
actually wound up being way more chill than I
so
imagined.
you had to accumulate a certain amount of points
Oh yes,
to
yes,
get your license, and Nehmer is not AMA affiliated. We will be because we kind of had a straw vote at the last round, and everybody's like, "Yeah, it's I'm already a member of AMA, so no big deal." But I guess it makes it easier because Moto America is the premier AMA road racing organization. Um, so how did that all work out to get the points, to get your license, to be able to do it?
sure. So yeah, I guess I should have started with this. You for a twins cup, you don't need points. You just need 6 expert race rounds under an affiliated club. As I found out, Nehmer is not an affiliated club because when I went to do my license application, Nehmer is not listed. So I sent an email to Nicole and John. I was like, how do I do this? Like, I know there's been Nehmer riders that do this. So, like, what do I do here? So I guess they talked it over with Ken from Moto America or from AMA, and I don't know. I don't really know. I guess it sounds like everybody's going to need an AMA membership next year. But my backup plan was to have Azura because I was doing the Azura rounds too, and they are affiliated. So I think I had 3 Nehmer rounds and 3 Azure rounds, and I just sent all the paperwork in together, and they approved it essentially.
Good, good. Yeah, I know some of the classes. I think, and I was unaware about the twins class, but I know like stock 1000, super sport, superbike, all them. There's a point system,
Yeah.
and because I've looked at all of that stuff. I'm too friggin' old anyway, but uh, I looked at all that stuff, and I was like, wow, it takes a lot to get in there. But I mean, 6 expert races with an affiliated club. That's still you still have to get to that expert level.
Yeah, I think they just don't want anybody showing up. And it kind of made sense, to be honest, that there needs to be a bit of a bar to enter. And it wasn't really that bad. I mean, the travel is tough, like going down to Summit twice. It's a 7 hour drive for me. But at the same time, you get experience racing different tracks and you learn. So
That's one thing I miss about being down south is being able to ride on different tracks all within a 5-hour drive
yeah.
in any direction. Uh, Up here, we're kind of like in the Great White North, the last holdouts, so to speak, up north. So you got your license, and uh, how did that progress?
I got the license. Well, the cutoff for entering was like September 6th or something. So I waited to the last minute to submit, get the license, and then immediately enter. So that not a lot of time had passed. I kind of knew where I would be based on the last NJMP round, so I was less concerned, but there was still some pressure. And then I didn't ride from the last New Jersey round to the MOTOAmerica round, just so I would have like those references and inputs and everything still kind of be the last thing I was riding the bike on. So in theory, it would be easier, but the pressure was still there, and it was tough getting out there. But
So you're affiliated with AK Race Fab race team.
yeah.
You're going to Moto America. You got your license. Take us through that Moto America weekend. So you got what, a 7 hour drive or 6 hour drive?
Yeah, Jersey for me is about 4.5 hours from my house. So Adam wanted me down there early so we could kind of move in together. Because move in is like, they don't let anybody in but the teams. So it starts at 9. So I plan to get down there for about 9:30. So I wasn't in the way of like all the big rigs. So I had my walkie-talkie. You're listening for the calls, and I think technically I didn't have to wait because I just had a camping spot. Like Adam was the team, so he had to wait. I didn't have to wait because I'm just an entry with a camping spot. So I kind of just rolled in when it was clear and not busy. Unload the bike, help Adam set up as much as I could, roll the bike over. I mean, as soon as I rolled the bike out of the camper, people started taking pictures. So just kind of weird because I'm a nobody. But um, roll the bike over, and then there's a schedule for the day, like Twins Cup Tech or scrutineering, as they call it, was at 3 to 4 p.m. And then headshots were 2 to 4 p.m. The track walk was like 3 to 5 p.m. And then the riders meeting was 4 p.m. So I had a lot crammed in within a couple hours. So I kind of just checked it off the list. Like, all right, got to get my headshots. You got to put your suit on, go to media center, and they have you stand and they take the pictures. That was pretty easy. And then tech, I kind of looked for an opening. I went early. I just saw like twins guys and baggers were all going at the same time, so I just wheeled it over. And I should say that everybody from MOTOAmerica was super nice, like very professional. Like they want you to be there. They're happy you're there. Um, so that was really, really, really good. And then pass through tack, like it was 5 minutes or so. The only thing I needed to do to the bike from like a NEMA round was add a rain light and add foam in the fuel tank, I think, and a gas tank vent. And then I was done. So that was a lot less stressful than I expected. Again, and then you're just kind of waiting around. Like you go over your tire strategy, look at your tire window because you can't just go roll up to Dunlop and say, I need a tire. There's specific windows for the classes, and they're typically only an hour and a half before you need to be on track. So there's a 30-minute window for twins. Let's say it's at 1:30. You have to get all your tires changed, front, rear, whatever you want, and then get it on the warmer as soon as possible because you're going to be on track in about an hour and a half. So that was pretty stressful, and that's where Chris was awesome because he was just on top of everything. Like I wouldn't have been able to do it myself, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
So were you allotted a certain amount of tires for the weekend
yeah,
or?
I think Twins is 10 total, and they give you your tire stickers intact in like a tiny little envelope, and they're like, don't lose them because this is all you get. And then it's up to you to put the tires on at the right time. You can put on a new front and a new rear and use those tires the entire weekend if you want to. But if you change them, they must have the tire sticker. They got to be on like the left side. And that's probably the one thing that they consistently check the entire weekend. Like as you're rolling out pit lane, they're looking to make sure you have tires. When your bike's in park ferme, they're writing down the numbers that you put on the tire. Um, yeah, the tire thing was a little stressful, but Jesse like planned the whole strategy out perfectly on when we were doing flips and when we're using used fronts and everything, and it all worked out really well.
So did you use your full allotment?
No, I think we had like 4 left over, honestly.
So that would be 3 sets.
I think I used 2 fronts and 4 rears, maybe. And then I had so I'm getting out of order, but Sunday morning was wet, so I had to use 2 tire stickers for rains, but I used rains I already had, so I didn't have to buy them. But you do have to use the tire stickers unless it's declared a wet race on that day. Then you don't have to use a tire sticker. It was kind of confusing, but
Well, luckily you had the team there to keep you straight on the
oh yeah,
time.
I would have been panicking the whole time. Like,
Yeah.
uh, just spend the money and get new tires, or I don't know. It was yeah, they did an awesome job. Really
Okay,
incredible.
so Friday you had open practice.
Friday morning P1 or practice 1 was at 9:30, and you get 30 minutes. That's it. So the strategy was, Matt, just go out and ride. You kind of know what you're doing because you were just there. Try to get up to speed, and we'll make progress from there. So I had like super self put on pressure. Like it's the first one. You only get 30 minutes. You've got to get this done and figure it out. So I was maybe point 0.2 seconds off my PB. Like my PB was a 29.9. I did a 30.3 or something in practice. So I was feeling pretty good. But I felt like I was using so much energy to do the same thing. Like I thought I was fairly fit, but when I got back, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to last this whole weekend? Uh, and then we had Q1 in the afternoon, and I definitely went faster. Still a ton of pressure because this was kind of it. I wanted to get the qualifying time done, so I didn't have to worry about it. The weather was also kind of iffy. Depending on what weather app you looked at, it was going to be beautiful and sunny, and another one said it was going to rain all weekend. So I needed to get it done as soon as possible. Again, the plan was to just stay out the whole time. I think it was 25 minutes, or it might have been 30 minutes again. And I got a tow from Solly Mervis for most of this session, and then he started actually holding me up. So I passed him to try to like put in a heater because I was feeling pretty good, pretty confident. And then I don't know what I did. I just too much brake and too much bar input at the same time in turn 7 going towards the houses and nearly tucked the front a few times. Went off into the grass, and I've never done that before. It kind of rattled me a little bit. So I pulled in kind of to like gather myself, and I was tired. Like I was really tired. I didn't want to go back out, but I had to. There was still 10 minutes or 12 minutes left in the session, and I was already wiped. But Jesse's like, go, man. You got time left. I was like, all right. And then I never really had that attack mode again because I had that moment and just mentally, I think I was doing like low 31s, which is my normal pace. It's comfortable. But I didn't make an improvement. So I was a little disappointed with that. But I was overall happy that I, set a PB of 29.4. So that is progress there. I think I qualified 21st out of 29 from that Q session. So I was fairly happy. And then, yeah, that's it. You ride twice on Friday and then you're done
So
for Friday.
so for qualifying, um, are there people that don't make the grid?
So I think P1 and Q1, everybody who enters is out there. That's their opportunity. Q2 is another opportunity, but that's like your last chance to qualify. It's also your last chance for to set the pole time. So up until Q2 is done, the cutoff is up in the air.
Fluctuating. Yeah.
But I knew like someone would have to go way faster for a 29.4 to not. make the cutoff. So I was worried about making the cutoff, and I beat the cutoff by 4 seconds. So um, it's good to be over prepared sometimes. Q2 is also much earlier in the morning. I think it was like 8:30 in the morning. So the track was cooler. I didn't expect anybody to go much faster. I certainly didn't go faster. I think I did like a 31.3 or something. But I was by myself the entire time, which I found odd because kind of the plan was there's going to be more people at my pace at a MOTOAmerica event than like a club race where there might be one guy that checks out and then you're by yourself. But for Q2, I was by myself probably most the entire time until Demario came around me on the last minute or so. So I don't think anything changed qualifying wise from Q1 to Q2. Maybe a couple guys shuffled around, but the pole time I think was 25 flat or so, and Q2's was like a 25.3 or something.
It's moving along.
Yeah, for sure.
That's moving along. All right, so we got through Q1, Q2, and you guys raced on Saturday and Sunday?
Yes. So
Yep.
race one Saturday, I think was early. It was the first race, I'm pretty sure, like after lunch. I want to say like 12:30 or 1 o'clock. And it's a full start, so you get the whole. It's a 15-minute pit window. Well, it's a 5-minute pit window to be out there, and then you're on grid for about 10 minutes. You get the whole team there, and my
Yep.
wife's holding the umbrella and everything, and
Oh,
everybody's out
I,
there
I,
and
I
taking
saw it
pictures.
all on Moto America Live.
It was, it was interesting to experience it. I for some reason wasn't that nervous. Like the work had already been done. Like the pressure was kind of off. So I just tried to enjoy the moment, being out there with essentially my friends and family. And yeah, it was really good. And then you hear the horns blaring and people coming by giving you good luck, and you have no idea who they are. But it was it was a good feeling. Um, yeah, and then everybody has to leave. You put your helmet on, you get a warm up, and hopefully you're ready.
Lights out.
Yeah. Yep.
So take us through that very first race, your very first big show race.
It really felt like, mentally preparing yourself for a GTL. Honestly, it's like I've done 3 GTLs in a row so far for the weekend. Like long sessions, trying to ride as hard as you can, and this was going to be no different. Except instead of everybody being spread out, you're all in a pack in the beginning. My start, I think, was okay. Wasn't too bad. Didn't really make up much ground, but by the end of the first lap, they pulled a gap on me pretty good. Like I remember coming around the light bulb, or I think it's turn 10, like seeing them already like at the bridge. Like, oh man, all right, well, it's not how I thought this was gonna go. But just like, all right, it is what it is. Put your head down and try to ride your own race. And I wasn't really pushing. I wasn't going that fast. Didn't have any moments, didn't have any oh shoot, experiences, just kind of riding comfortably. And I think I had like Jeff Perk come up the inside of me in turn 5 pretty early on, and that kind of woke me up a little bit. And then I think somehow I got past him in turn 5, or he came up turn 4. I passed him in turn 5 a couple laps later after I kind of did some planning. And then Chris Parrish's bike kept shutting off during the race. So we got like blue flags like 3 separate times, which I've never experienced a blue flag before. Is it for me? Is it for him? Who's supposed to be getting out of the way? And we passed him. I was in 14th place. Didn't know it at the time, but eventually Chris got his bike working again, and he passed me on the inside of turn 12, which is a pretty fast, scary corner. So I had to shut off to not run off the track, which let Perk and Rodney Vest get past me. And they pulled enough of a gap that I didn't have time to catch back up before I got shown a blue flag and the checker flag at the same time. So I thought I was done. Like if I see a checker, I'm like, all right, I guess that's it. But technically, nobody lapped me, so I should have done the last lap, but I didn't. I just pulled in. So unfortunately, I got a DNF for race one,
Ugh.
which I didn't know at the time. I found
Ugh.
out later on, and then I was pretty upset with myself because I was in 16th, and it's not horrible for your first one. There were a lot of
No,
crashes,
no,
but still,
that's uh, that's
the
very
goal
respectable.
the goal was just not get lapped, which maybe technically I did, I don't know, but in the race I didn't, and to have my name on the top 20 board, which I achieved both of those things. So yeah, that was race one. So
Ugh. I I was at work, so I was trying to catch what I could live, and then I was having to go back and rewatch afterwards. And I had forgot that you got it. I was like, I don't see him on the board. He was up there, and then
nope, yep. As
I
people
was
came
like,
around, I just kept dropping. And I was first to Park Ferme. I was like, this is weird. And then I realized later, like, yeah, you didn't do all the laps, idiot. So
learning experience.
yeah, for sure. For sure.
And it was the last round of the year, and your very first round with Moto America. So uh,
Yep.
I'm sure that the learning curve was kind of steep as to how they get everything set up. And I mean, you've already gone through all the stress stuff, and now it was just time to go out and race. So
Yeah, but there's lots of little details like that you need to know that thankfully Adam was there and he had been doing it all year. Like you can't bring your bike out to the like your hot pit area until 2/3 distance of the previous race. There's a window for when you have to be out onto track. And for example, race two, I missed the window because they had shifted the schedule around a little bit. So it's all these little things that you need to know, and that's why you've got the guys with the earpieces on the radio, and they're listening for all the calls. And it's not a club race where you can do it all yourself. That's for sure. You need people to help you.
yeah, and it's kind of neat that early in the season you kind of gelled with the team, and it just progressed from there. So
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, for sure.
you, and
Yeah, I can't stress enough how like thankful I am that they were there and were willing to have me under the tent. Just amazing opportunity.
yeah, definitely. So we roll into Sunday. You missed the call.
Well, we had Sunday warm up, which was also very early, like 8 a.m., and it had poured overnight, so the track was wet. Uh, I wanted to ride. I'll ride in pretty much anything. So, but we didn't know if it was going to be wet throughout the day. So we put wets on to get a good feeling. I think it was me and maybe 8 other people out there, riding around pretty much by myself until the very end when I can't remember who it was. A couple of the top guys came past me, but they didn't drop me, so that was good. I kind of wish it was wet for race two, just to get the full dry race, a wet race, get the whole experience. But it started drying pretty quickly, and when it came time to make the decision, like literally half the track was dry and half of it was wet. So we didn't know what to do, and we we basically had I think 20 minutes to go. So we had the slicks on warmers just off the bike, and we had rain still on. And then Eli Block comes around. You know, he's everywhere on these Moto America rounds. He's in everybody's garage and in Park Ferme and everything. He comes by and we're like, Eli, go check out the track. Scope it out. Because we were all thinking wets. Because you look at the front straightaway and it was completely wet. And we were watching the baggers practice, and right in the braking zone for turn one, just it's like a puddle. So he comes back, and we had kind of already made a decision. Like I wrote around to the other teams trying to see like what is everybody doing, and most people had warmers on or were switching to slicks. So I said, let's just switch to slicks. That way we're all in the same boat. Um, and then Eli came back. He's like, yeah, slicks for sure. So at the start of the race, turn one was wet. Everything else was pretty much dry, but you had to be mindful not to touch the paint. So your line gets a little smaller, and we're a little tentative in the beginning. Um, so I know I'm kind of not going in order. I'm just kind of like throwing it all out there. Stop
That's
me if you need to.
fine. That's fine.
Yeah, starting from last was interesting. The guy that wouldn't let me go out, I kind of argued, not argued, but was like, "Hey, it was supposed to be 5 minutes," and he's like, "Nah, they shortened it to 3. But don't worry, I know who you are. You'll make up the spots on the start." And sure enough, like that's what happened. And starting last, I didn't get the best start, but I did like pass. I think 5 people on the start and 3 more going into turn one.
So
And
they let you out after the warm up lap.
oh yeah, I should specify. So race 2 is a quick start. There's no like 10-minute grid sitting. So you get your out lap is your siding lap. You take your grid spot. They give you a warm up lap, and then you go. So because I missed the sighting window, when they came around for their warm up lap is when I was allowed to go, and I had to remember like, hey, this is your warm up. You don't get another one. And then you line up last. There's a person. Typically, you have one of your crew people in your spot to help you line up. Well, I had Pierce Valentine, a buddy, another Nima racer SV guy, came down to help me, which is also a huge help. Oh my gosh. Without him doing a lot of things, actually, it would have been a lot more stressful. But he was there in my grid spot, and I don't show up. So he's like, what's going on? Because he didn't know. And then a MOTOAmerica person with the flag helps you line up to the last grid spot. And then they kick everybody off, and you go for race 2.
So lights out. You're at a deficit already.
Yeah, again, pressure was off. Like we got mixed conditions. There's no expectation for me, at least. I just kind of tried to use my muscle memory on what I'm supposed to do and how to ride a motorcycle. And I got an okay start, passed a few people. And then for some reason, everybody stayed super tight in turn one. I'm like, that's not where the drier line is. So I kind of shot around maybe 3, 4 people going into like that little mini straight between turn one and turn two and settled in there. Um, Past Eliza Gendron in turn 5 and then pretty much stayed there the entire race riding on my own. Um, Doing like 34s, I think, then some 33s, then some 32s, progressively getting more comfortable as you realize, hey, it's dry. Like just send it. It's dry. But that takes a while sometimes to get that through your brain. And then we got blue flags like again in turn 2, and I'm like, what the heck? There's no way. I turn around, no one's coming. So I don't know what the blue flags are for, but it makes you like roll out like mentally. It's like, oh, be ready for like you're not supposed to like stray your line. You're not supposed to shut off. You're just supposed to be predictable and do your thing. But then I was like, okay, nobody's coming past me. I turned around and Eliza's right on my butt again. So I slow down. She slows down. She gets past, causes train reaction. Thankfully, I held on to it for I think 19th place. I don't remember. And that was it. All done. All over.
I'm sure it wasn't. Well, tires alone. That cost you a couple of dollars anyway. Um, More so than a club race weekend.
Yeah, but you don't. I mean, you don't use them that long. Like one 30-minute session, and you're flipping it, and you get another 30-minute session, and then you don't use it. But they don't go bad. Like I'd throw that on for sprint race or a track day or a practice day. So it's not wasted really. And yeah, it is expensive, but if you're constantly worrying about, oh my gosh, this costs this much, you may be leaving time or and safety on the table. So I
Yeah.
tried to like get over that earlier in the year because I'm a cheapskate. Honestly, I try to reuse stuff. The joke is they had some used crush washers from Nathan's bike, and they're like, Matt, you want to throw this on your on your Aprilia? I was like, yeah, I'll take them. I'll reuse them.
Uh, I mean, yeah, it's not it's
Yeah.
not, and I don't want to say cheap, but it's not a cheap hobby.
No, for sure.
It really isn't.
Yeah.
It really isn't. But I mean, where else can you have that much fun?
We're still doing it, so probably not many other places, like I used to play a lot of golf, and I used to cringe at 40-50 bucks a round.
Well, you know what they
I
say
was
about
like,
golf.
what? Yeah.
The difference between golf and motorcycle racing. Only one of those sports requires one ball. The other one you need two. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just everybody else in my family golfs. I don't. So, uh, all the other sports only require one ball. So,
That's funny. But the like the entry wasn't it was like 350 for the entry. um Camping was another 100. The gas was, I think I used about 8 gallons of gas. It's like 20 bucks a gallon for the MGPR fuel. Um, and then the license, the MOTOAmerica license is 250 plus an AMA membership. If you don't have one, is another 39 or $40, $49, something like that. The entry isn't the problem. It's just the tires if you want to be competitive and do it right, I guess. And then the travel is the other big cost of
yep.
things. And then your crew, like you need help. You gotta.
You
I don't know how
definitely,
teams do that. Like I paid for credentials for everybody that was on my side of the tent. Um, I was pretty fortunate that that's all I had to shell out for. But you definitely need them for sure.
yeah. It's not a one man show when you race at that level. It really
Yeah.
isn't. And again, it is the AMA's premier organization for motorcycle road racing. Ever since the AMA kind of stepped back from it, it's gone through its iterations with NASB, and now it's Moto America. And there was another organization, I can't remember when, but back when I did the 883 Cup years ago on the Harley 883 spec bikes. Uh,
Oh
I was
wow.
doing I was doing that with NASB, North American Superbike. They were basically the AMA organization that was doing the 200 back then. Um,
Okay. Hmm.
and it's progressed, and now it's Moto America doing it. And it seems like Moto America is really getting some traction. Were there a lot of spectators there?
I think so. It was tough. Like I've been to Jersey as a spectator, and it seemed
You
like
were
it
in
was
your bubble,
packed. But
so
yeah, I really had no idea what was going on, like with other races and stuff. Like I had heard things here and there about like Bobby Fong's crash and some drama with tires, but I really had no idea what was happening because if I wasn't riding, we were rebuilding the bike. Honestly, we had everything off after every session, cleaning everything. Like there's a reason Adam and Kevin had like zero mechanical issues for their program the whole year, and that's because they are thorough. They take it super seriously. and they put in the work to maintain, clean, rebuild everything every time, regardless of if you did 1 lap or 20 laps. So we applied the same thing. We actually had my forks and shock rebuilt by K-Tech while we were down there. Made some changes there. I got pictures of Jesse washing my bike like a car wash, essentially. I don't know when I'm going to show those to people, but
Oh,
most
I think
expensive bike wash I've ever had. That's for
I
sure.
think I'd hold those for ransom. You know.
Yeah.
Uh, well, it sounds like it was a great time. We really wanted to get down there just to come down and spectate for it, and I've just had a lot going on. I
Yeah.
just picked up a new toy hauler, a little upgrade from my converted cargo trailer. Just something that's a little more comfortable. Nothing huge.
Yeah, no, that's what we have. We have a small toy hauler. It was a game changer. Like the first Loudon weekend that it rained and we had the toy hauler, it was like, oh my, this thing's already paid for itself. Instead of being under an easy up and an intent.
Well, I mean, I had a cargo trailer that I converted. I had a bed in it, air conditioning, that
Oh,
stuff.
sure,
But
yeah,
this is just a couple of levels above, and its maiden voyage is going to be. Well, we're leaving Friday, but we're going to meet a bunch of Nemer people uh, down at Daytona. Bam Bam's already got me hooked up with a campsite, and I'm going to be in the
yeah,
garages with him, and so he's like the coordinator for all that for everybody going down.
yeah. I saw on the garage list he's got like a whole slew of them like reserved. I'm like, man, I really wish I could come, but
Yeah, and we haven't taken a vacation in a while, so this we're making stops on the way down, visiting friends. We've got friends and family up and down the eastern seaboard, and then we're going to come back to western side and go up through the mountains of North Carolina, visit one of my old race buddies, my old team owner. We're going to go up and see him in the mountains,
nice.
and
Be a good
yeah,
trip.
it'll be a lot of fun. It's definitely going to be a lot of fun. So, what kind of advice can you give anyone aspiring? Oh, it's going to be easier now because after the straw vote we had, I believe they're going to affiliate with AMA, which is going to make it easier. What kind of advice can you give to any of these guys that are thinking about doing a Moto America round, not sure about it?
Um, I don't I don't know. I kind of question why I even did the MOTOAmerica round. But I really like MOTOAmerica. Like I like the series. I liked all the classes. I like the content, the announcers, the ride. Like I don't know what it is. Like I don't even really watch MotoGP anymore. But MotoAmerica on those weekends, I have the thing on all day.
Yeah,
So I think that's what's kind of a motivator. Like I wanted to be part of it. Yeah, it's not running at the front, but the goal was to make the show. My advice would really be have a plan, like on how to get there, and research as much as you can. Um, I think Ken Hill has a podcast on essentially like how do you do this? Like how can you make sure you're going to do this? And I listened to that a few times, like make sure you can do it on the tires and the fuel and everything's within the rules of the class you're going to try to ride. And the other thing I would say is ride different tracks, especially in the Northeast, is tough. You have Loudon as a race series, but unless you're doing, and I don't really know, like USCRA that goes to other places, you're stuck with Loudon. Loudon is very different from a lot of places. Loudon is not like Jersey; it is the complete opposite.
it's not like any place. It really isn't.
Um, so my advice would be go to other tracks and see what they have to offer and what you can work on. I'm not particularly fast at Loudon. Like I'm still 3 seconds off where I need to be, but maybe I'm faster at Jersey. I don't know. I don't have a lot of references for that. I just tried to be within 10% of any track that does racing and the fastest guy. So I think I'm there everywhere. And you got to always be riding. Um, to keep it fresh. Showing up, on Saturday and doing one practice and wondering why you may not be making that much progress. You just need to ride more or have a more structured program, which is hard because the hobby is so expensive. Like, it is prohibitive. There's a reason people come and go so much.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. That's true. Well, Matt, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your experience and your road to Moto America. Very enlightening, and hopefully that will maybe spark an interest in some of the other guys out there racing
yeah,
to take a shot at it. There are some fast guys, and I mean, even when I was racing down south, when we would go to Daytona, we knew that the guys from Loudon were coming down to race. So and they brought the fast guys. It's always been that way. It'll probably always be that way. But yeah, getting out and riding different tracks, different terrain, different like there's no other track like Loudon. And when you go to like Roebling Road's a very easy track, but it's very fast.
yeah,
Everything's smooth and sweeping, and or then you go to like Road Atlanta where you've got some major elevation changes. You know, so yeah, get out and ride those tracks. But I really appreciate you coming on. This will be a premiere, and shoot you a link. We'll get it advertised, and we'll get some viewers on here for sure. And it'll be open for chat. I will not be available because this will be up on Friday. I will be either still sleeping or trying to wipe the sleep out of my eyes to drive all night long to get to Virginia without hitting too much traffic. That's going to be the trick. But I really appreciate you coming on.
no,
So,
you're welcome, and thank you for having me. I mean, again, I just want to say, thanks to Adam Kells from AK Racefab for the whole year having me in the garage, and the whole program. It's like kind of like a dream. Thank you to Jesse for coming down again. Eye opening. Learned a ton. Would like to learn some more from him next year if that's possible. And my buddy Pierce for coming down all the way from Boston to hang out at the track. Huge help. Huge help. And but honestly, most importantly, my wife for sticking by me this whole time, encouraging me and really every step of the way, like being there. Because without her, I would have quit a long time ago,
well,
for
that's
sure.
good. That's awesome. All right, guys. Thanks. And everybody have yourself a great evening, day, whatever. And we'll catch you on the next one.